News.
Along those lines, spending lots of money and government not being very good at dealing with things. The California Post, our friends right down here in downtown LA, I love how they are, like the New York Post has a California division now. They're doing some good reporting over there. So now there's a rogue mini town. The other day you showed me that creepy video of the guy like living underneath the sidewalk.
Chud.
Like in the storm shelter. Amongst things that looked like what you pulled out of the pool, pretty much.
Yes.
Now there's a rogue mini town that's rising inside Los Angeles' billion-dollar homelessness crisis, where the homeless are building tiny homes, including televisions, air conditioning, and selling them on the street for as little as $100. They talked to one guy, 38 years old. He lives in this burst of bright orange, green, and yellow building that he's made in this small structure. He says he's really proud of his space, and he cleans it up every single day. He even has air conditioning. Before living in this home, this gentleman lived a block away in a tent and a tarp, but he said it was too much fighting and drugs. This provides him more protection, and he's made almost 10 houses so far that he sells for about $100 a pop. Here's a video of it.
Show me what you have here. How do you get the
It's got a TV.
Yeah, it's a Telemundo.
What are you connected to?
We have electricity.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got an air conditioner?
Yeah.
It's nicer than the room I grew up in. I've got to be honest with you. I didn't have an air
Does the
conditioner.
rain come through the roof? Yeah, so it gets wet? It's supposed to rain on Thursday. Do you cover it with a tarp or? Yeah?
Well, first off, the guy doesn't speak English, and she's doing an interview with him.
Oh.
And secondly, turn down the Telemundo.
What else
We're
is
doing an
down
interview here.
Bring an interpreter next time.
Yeah.
Oh, your speaker. Got it. Your bed. How long you been here?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah. Does the city leave you alone? No problem?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
What else? Where do you get all this stuff from?
Yeah.
No?
All right.
you paint
Listen, here's the whole thing.
He can't understand them.
People will do whatever they're going to do and whatever you let them do.
Yeah.
So if you start saying, well, I'll tell you what, taxes are on the honor system now, well, then no more taxes. That's how it works. And paying parking tickets are on the honor system as well. Well, then no more paid parking tickets.
Yep.
And live for free, park your RV wherever. Well, then people are going to do it. I remember being in Portland. Guy had like a 32-foot RV. He had the thing hooked up, pulling power off the power pole. He had water running to it.
I mean, it's innovative.
I will say this. If you can parallel park a 32-foot Winnebago in the city and then
downtown Portland,
and then climb up a telephone pole and pull power off it and then tap into a water main, you are more employable than anyone in this building.
So why don't you go get a job?
That's what I'm saying.
Apparently this guy, so now he's made this a business. He's built 10 of these little homes out of scraps and trash, clearly, and he's selling them to his neighbors for $100. And
Right.
he also said that he does work odd jobs, and that's how he pays for his food.
Right. But Nithya Raman, the woman who's second in the mayoral race in Southern California, is not going to do anything about this in Los Angeles. Yet, if you want to build a custom tree house that delights the neighborhood kids and has been a landmark in your neighborhood for 25 years, she will make sure that is torn down because you don't have the proper permitting for it. So that's LA, everybody. Don't you love it? All right, Alicia, what else we got?
We have a very, very disturbing update in the story of that poor Ukrainian refugee, the 23-year-old woman that was fatally stabbed last year. Remember this happening in North Carolina?
Yes.
Well, now a North Carolina court has ruled that the offender and murderer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., is incapable to proceed on the state murder charge in the killing of that refugee, Irina Zarutska, on the Charlotte Light Rail. They're saying that he is mentally incapable and that as of now, the trial is at a standstill. X, Instagram, TikTok, everybody's blowing up talking about this. It's like, I get that justice is blind and that we need, to give everybody the benefit of the doubt until proven guilty. But it's like, if the court proceeding, if the prosecution can't even proceed, how is there justice in this situation like this? This is insane.
Agreed. I mean, there's lots of disturbing stuff about this, which is, one is the murals that they put up with her on it always get defaced.
There was an update on that earlier this week.
Yeah.
They were like, well, we don't like what it stands for. It's upsetting the community.
No, that's two separate stories. One is it got taken down. The other is it just gets spray painted over by folks who can't tolerate it. It also kind of says who you are, where you are, and how you vote. So what the left has, all they have is narratives. That's all they have. They don't have facts. They don't have tangible stuff. They just have narratives, and, when they sit down with AOC and they're like, January 6th, you were this close to losing your life or worse. Oh, you were going to be raped and then they were going to kill you. Right. Except for I wasn't in the building. But other than not being in the building.
And she has no comment on the women that happened to at the Nova Festival.
Right. No comment. So all they have is narratives. That's all they have is narratives. This poor kid wearing he got his Yoda backpack on and his dad is being chased by ICE and ICE has left him alone. This guy, what's his name? He's a pediatric nurse who just went out to help and he got shot by. All they have is narratives. Hands up, don't shoot. He's a gentle giant. Everything.
Yep.
George Floyd. All they have is they had the Baltimore dad or whatever. Just all they have is narratives. And so when all you have is narratives and you don't have any facts or anything works in your direction, anything we can put on paper, it's all narratives. And you think about everything with ICE. Everything is ICE. They're kicking open doors. There's no badges. They don't identify themselves. They're grabbing citizens and they're disappearing them into sweatshops in Honduras. Okay, it's all narratives.
Yep.
Well, so with narratives, you got two narratives. You got our bullshit narrative about January 6th, insurrection, armed insurrection, bloody armed insurrection, deadly insurrection. Okay, narrative. And then once in a while, shit pops up that fucks with your narrative, which is a Ukrainian blonde girl being brutally killed by a black man who goes through your system. And by the way, you're the system that created, the school to prison pipeline. He fell through the cracks. We need no cash bail. These people are being warehoused and black men. And your narrative now has been destroyed by this. And you hate it. You hate it.
That's why the mainstream media doesn't cover stories like this, because it doesn't fit.
They're all narrative based and they hate this because you're either helping the narrative by, you take Kyle Rittenhouse and turn him into a rogue racist assassin who went down to the George Floyd parade and started shooting people for no reason or whatever. You have your bullshit narrative, and then you have ones like these, and these bother you. And so what you have to do with these narratives, and your two narratives, you have your bullshit narrative that you need to boost, which is body counts and January 6th and all the other bullshit, and everybody came here as hardworking,
mass incarceration and wrongful incarceration of black men for crimes.
You got all that, and then you got ones you need to tamp down, and the ones you need to tamp down were like, Joe Biden has lost his mind. Oh, that's just a cheap fake. That's just a little slice. Somebody took that at the Juneteenth celebration. Doesn't mean anything.
Wandering away at the G8 summit.
Right. He was helping out a paratrooper that had landed in a sandbar. Yeah. Okay. So this is bad for them. Needs to be tamped down. In the murals, remind people of their broken narrative. So then the person who runs the city where the mural goes up, if he's a lefty, and he probably is, has to get up there and explain people are upset. We need to they're upset because it's hurting their narrative. So we'd like it taken down. Now, you don't put in half major cities in New York, they have a big thing that's a big counter that says how many people die of smoking every year. That would upset Dawson. But he's not part of your narrative, and he's not on the happy side of this thing. So that stays up. The thing that shows how many people die of smoking every year.
Because they want to shame Dawson.
Right.
They don't want to shame
but this
the guy
one
that stabbed an innocent Ukrainian woman.
Right. There is a clip of that mayor, and I don't even
Talking
know where it
about the
was.
mural.
Yeah, he's just like
it was
people
insensitive. It was making people uncomfortable.
I would be upset if I lived in Minnesota and I see the George Floyd mural. I'd say that guy is a felon. That guy is a thug. That guy's a bad guy. And fuck that guy. So I would be upset.
If it's on a private business, though, it'd be like a high roll and move on. Like it's their First Amendment right to like have that on the side of their business. And I think that was what happened. There is a guy, I don't know why it upsets Rudy, who's from Minnesota, because they have like a walk of fame and they have Prince and they have, Paul Bunyan or Bud Grant and then they have
or something.
George Floyd.
Yes. And it's like for the guys who live there and appreciate the music and the culture and everything that lump this fucking felon in with that guy.
I'm surprised Prince isn't rolling over in his grave over that.
He may have.
Sheesh.
All right, let's listen to the mayor, I guess. I don't know where's the mayor of. I can tell by his haircut I don't like him.
Every community member that calls Providence home feels safe. And we can both agree that this mural behind us does not reflect Providence's values, nor does it reflect the creativity that we want to see in our city. Ultimately,
okay, so he's a representative.
Is he Rhode Island? Is that
no, a representative from Providence, but it's Providence, North Carolina. So it's the district in which the mural was painted. Yep.
So it makes people feel unsafe to see a waif model who's dead portrayed on a brick side of a building?
Yeah, I guess so.
Unsafe. It makes people, and by the way, what is this? I feel unsafe. Murals can't make you feel. By the way, Poly High, which is in a very Hispanic part of Sun Valley, California, there's a big mural up there. We got to see if it's still there, Dawson. Cesar Chavez is on that mural, and I
paint over that.
Feel unsafe now that I've heard about what that guy was up to.
Although somebody did make a really good point, we could just change all Cesar Chavez named buildings to Julio Cesar Chavez.
It's good, but Mario Lopez did call me a couple days ago, and he likes my idea.
Oh, yeah? What was it?
Mario Lopez Junior High, Mario Lopez Boulevard.
Yep.
Mario Lopez Auditorium, Mario Lopez Library.
Famous Californian, hasn't raped 12-year-olds.
Man, all the man does is
I think the thing that
pay taxes.
Pissed me off the most about that story is how the lady waited for so long. And this is the leftist, a glimpse into the leftist idea of, this mural of a dead immigrant, which, wait, I thought we were okay with Ukrainian immigrants and we supported Ukraine. At least that's what the left said they did for so long. Like Russia bad, Ukraine good. Her story only matters if it aligns, like you pointed out, with their perspective. But then it shows how they are willing to sacrifice all of the things that they claim to be true, like rape is wrong, Me Too, pay attention to it, all of this stuff. Trump hates women, Republicans hate children, yada, yada, Epstein list, et cetera, et cetera. But then when a woman waits 60 years and covers up for a guy like Chavez, who they think are like, yay, our guy, she literally said in the interview with the New York Times, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to mess with the movement.
Right.
Like, that is messed up. Like, if you are willing to set aside your self-preservation and morals for the movement, left, right, and center, that's cultish behavior.
Well, it's real simple with the mural. If the guy who stabbed her was wearing a MAGA hat, then you guys would be fine with the mural.
Be sommelier.
But the guy was black and looks like he would vote for you, and it's the kind of guy you're trying to claim as a victim. So now you're not okay with the mural. I want to hear what this retard had to say one more time, because
it's not what his community stands for. A mural for a dead woman is not what his community stands for.
And it's dangerous, too. All right.
Ultimately, we want to make sure that every community member that calls Providence home feels safe. And we
What
can
about
both
the ones
agree
who get
that this
stabbed?
mural behind us does not reflect Providence's values, nor does it reflect the creativity that we want to see in our city.
By the way, we're now at the point with Democratic politicians where they're speaking gibberish.
Yes.
It doesn't reflect creativity.
They want creativity that doesn't paint white people on buildings.
But versus nothing, I would argue murals are all creative because they're murals. They're paintings, which is a creation, and it's part of that process. But they all have values. By the way, leftists don't even know what they're talking about anymore. They just go values, seat at the table. I'm literally
Unsafe.
Yes, Andrew. I sit around and I think about this all the time, but I want to make a faux campaign ad for me running for senator where it's just me listening to black people. And it's all pictures of me listening to black people, different events, listening, lots of shots of me listening while
Lots of
black
B-roll,
people talk. Yeah. And it's Adam Carolla. He listens and he's going to fight Trump. And I think that's about all you need. Just pictures of me nodding and listening.
You could probably win a mayoral race in this state.
Yes, Adam Carolla. He listens to black people. Look at the film.
Look.
All right. So sorry. Another story.
Another First Amendment.
By the way, if you kill someone randomly, viciously, and violently who's just sitting around, I need to put you down. You're rabid dog at this point. Sorry. Listen, here are the rules of society. I got room for you driving drunk and clipping someone at night when a rainstorm or something. I don't need you executed. If you're just going to randomly execute other citizens for no reason whatsoever, then you need to be executed.
It's so ironic. It's like she's on public transportation. She is an immigrant from a nation that they say that they claim to support, and a woman. I guess maybe because she's a white woman, it doesn't matter as much to them. But and she's unsafe. They've made the city completely unsafe. And now this guy, TBD if he will be, up for a retrial. I don't know. Maybe they'll try a different charge. Maybe they'll try to get a second opinion. I bet you the prosecutor is just livid at this point. It's insane.
Yes.
But in a legal win for those of us that love freedom in the First Amendment, an attorney, Connor Fitzpatrick, representing a student. Remember the San Diego high school student that had the pro-ICE posters and then he was suspended from his school down there in Torrey Pines?
Yeah.
17-year-old Torrey Pines high school junior who's gone unnamed, of course, because he's a minor. He had the We Heart ICE signed Real Americans during lunch. The flyers were quickly torn down, and days after the incident, the student was hit with a one-day suspension for what the school officials allegedly called, quote-unquote, demonizing and hateful speech.
Well, what's great about them? It's always funny to me. It's like if you're a flight attendant for American Airlines, you can wear a little badge with the gay flag on it, but you can't wear a badge that has MAGA or Republican or anything.
Probably can't wear a cross or Sword of St. James or a Star of David.
And so you go, why not? And they go, we don't allow any kind of political. And it's like, you don't? Because you're organizing anti-ICE marches.
Yep. Teachers were and students were doing the walkout. So this is what attorney Connor Fitzpatrick, who represents FIRE, which stands for the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. They do some really great work. He said that the school administrators, of course, to your point, can't pick and choose which opinions students are allowed to express. Voicing an opinion which makes others upset is not harassment or intimidation. It's American democracy in action, and turns out it's protected by the First Amendment.
Also,
so the district has now had to reverse this decision. They've wiped the suspension from this kid's record. Good.
And let me say this as well. Listen, pussies, if you are fearful or scared of a mural of a blonde chick, or you can't hold down your lunch because someone is down with ICE who's trying to protect your scrawny ass anyway, then fuck off. And these people go, these people come in here, there's a uniformed cop in this donut shop, and some of the patrons feel threatened. And then fuck off. If you feel threatened by law enforcement or ICE...
You should only feel threatened if you're doing something bad.
Yes,
right?
If you feel threatened by a mural or law enforcement, get the fuck out of this country. Then, sorry, you have a problem. And by the way, if you can't travel without your dog, fuck right off too. You have a mental disorder. We don't have to make it a flying kennel, and we don't have to get rid of cops and kick them out of the donut shops, and we don't have to paint over the mural. That's your problem. There's something wrong with you. And by the way, I don't really think you're scared of cops, because when shit goes down, you call cops.
You call, or you threaten to call.
Right.
Like Central Park Karen.
Right.
Yes, I'm going to call the cops.
I'm scared of the chupacabra, but I'm consistent. I don't threaten to summon the chupacabra if someone's giving me a hard time, you know?
I was talking to some minority girlfriends of mine this week, and two of them on two different occasions called me to vent about how they were like, how come the most racist people are the rich white liberals in corporations that speak down to the minority woman and like pretend that they know better? Like,
Yes.
they're like, without, and these women are more on the left, and they're like, without fail, it's always like the white Karens or the legalese HR guy in corporate America that tells you how he loved Biden and Kamala, but then says something racist and speaks down to you because he thinks you're an idiot.
Well, it's the soft bigotry of low expectations. I mean, when Gavin Newsom was sitting in there going, how are these people supposed to get checking accounts? It's like, you're talking about them like they're animals and you're a zookeeper. You should expect how they're supposed to get IDs to vote. You know what I mean? Like, you want to talk about that ultimate racist is not thinking somebody is up to something that is very
capable.
basic.
Yep.
Yes.
Capable.
All right. A clip to get into with all the Charlie Kirk stuff. Yeah. And, you know, for me, I guess the minds go in different places with these kinds of tragedies and situations. And for me, I'm kind of more the person that wants to examine the reactions versus the actual events. The events are baked into life, the assassinations, the plane crashes, the car crashes, the weird tragedies, the cut down in their prime, cut short, you know, that kind of stuff. It's sad, and I'd like it to go away, but it's kind of baked in to me. You know, we were talking Beatles, you know, John Lennon gunned down in the streets. Why? You know, it's like, yeah, I don't know why, but it seems to be baked in to our culture. All cultures, really. Just the tragedy and the sort of random tragedy of life. And so to me, when something like that happens, I tend to like focus on like our society and how we react and what we do, you know? And like when John Lennon gets gunned down in cold blood, then appropriately the following Sunday, you know, 250,000 people show up at the park and light a candle.
That?
Yeah.
You
know, and they play Give Peace a Chance, you know, and then you go, all right, but you don't have people on news channels making fun of John Lennon. No. You know what I mean? It wasn't acceptable. It wasn't, and you know, we didn't have the internet back then, but I imagine there wouldn't have been a lot of trolls talking shit about John Lennon back then. Now there would be. Now there would be.
But there have been, I don't know if you remember, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, people started to dissect Imagine and take apart like that it wasn't a positive song and the things he was saying. And I'm like, God, what are we doing that we're dissecting Imagine 40 years later?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I do hate that song, but yes, I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So there's a clip, and then I also kind of realized, so there was some controversy last week, which is the TMZ was doing their live stream, and they heard
raucous
laughter and cheering, and I wanted to kind of break it down. Then they gave an excuse that was because of a car chase, but when you sync up the timelines and you watch the car chase, it's pretty much a Daihatsu charade just going through LA to medium speed. There's no explosion. There's no pit maneuver. There's no rumble strip that popped the tires. There's nothing spectacular. There's nothing going on in the car chase that would elicit a reaction.
Okay.
Like, I've seen a million car chases, and the way car chases work is you just sit there and watch them, and then at some point the guy T-bones a Gardner truck, and you go, whoa!
Yeah.
But you don't really cheer or laugh.
No.
You just go, oh! You know, ah! You know,
There's no cheering. We don't know who's in the car.
Right.
You're not rooting for anybody, for sure.
Right. So here's the tape, and he's doing a live stream, and you can hear what sounds like the cheers, and we'll just play it.
little bit. That the driver is
so my
playing
guess
this
is
cat and mouse
we're going to
game
see
with the
an
CHP,
image
which
of this guy
is so unusual to watch.
possibly in the
I'm
next
not
20
used to
minutes.
seeing
The
this
news
part of
conference
these
is
It's
scheduled
superimposed
We're
over
showing
the
you
car
right now the
chase.
banner below.
3
You can see
o'clock
it started
in
in
Utah
Temple
time,
City,
which is
and
2
we saw
o'clock
that-
Pacific.
Go ahead, Philip.
Well, I wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died.
Go to.
All right, so there's clapping and cheering.
Yeah.
I'll show you the naked one without the car footage in it, but it's synced up, and the car can't even be seen. It's behind a building, and it's driving at kind of pedestrian speeds down a side street.
That's the 300 underdog got the knockout kind of cheer.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll play it to you without the
that is
superimposed
not what I was expecting him to look like.
whatever.
He's a lawyer.
Sorry, here it is.
Visual of the shooter if he's still on the loose because they want to find him. So I would think that that's one of the main reasons they're holding this news conference. So my guess is we're going to see an image of this guy possibly in the next 20 minutes. The news conference is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Janet, go to.
All right, so it's women. Seems like women clapping and hooting. Now I watch TMZ, and TMZ has the peanut gallery, and there's probably 15 to 20 people around, and there's like 1.5 conservative guys, and the other are just super progressive chicks. I mean, it's not a full 2.
Yeah.
And they're super. The chicks are super motivated liberals, and they're loud. Like they're like, whoa, you can hear them. And so there's no doubt. And they said, they had to try to walk this back and say they were reacting to a car chase.
Yeah.
Women don't really care about car chases. They don't clap. They don't shriek. They're not that loud. They don't celebrate. So they were cheering the fact that Charlie Kirk had died. Okay. So then you go, well, what is it about that? Well, first things first, I don't think that women, and this is a societal thing, and it's what's going on now, and I've been complaining about for a long time, and no one will listen to me, and everyone thinks I'm a douchebag, but they're not as good at, Lady Gaga aside, the poker face. Like, if you said to one, if they had an arch enemy, and you just told this woman, Veronica's dead, she'd let out a cheer just spontaneously. Like, they're not that good at the keep it turned down. Their emotions are going to get out. So, like a guy might think, oh, I'm glad Charlie Kirk is dead, but he wouldn't vocalize. He wouldn't spontaneously make that noise in a public environment. You know what I mean? So they reacted. And they're happy about it because they're very progressive and very liberal. And if you think Charlie Kirk is going to help Hitlerian guys seize power and become the president of the United States, then it would make sense for you to cheer on his demise. And I've said this a million times. It's not an attack against those people. The French resistance were doing the right thing. There was a guy named Adolf Hitler. He was taking over Europe, and they fought him. And they fought him by any means possible. They faked IDs, and they got outfits, and they forged papers and stuff. And we applaud it because we go, you're trying to stop this Hitler who's trying to take over Europe. Well, if you keep calling Trump Hitler, then the people that attempt to assassinate him or assassinate his lieutenants or his generals or the people like Charlie Kirk that were responsible for putting him in office, then it all tracks. It all makes sense to me.
But listen, man, I would say that I am far right of Los Angeles, but I bet you I'm more left than a lot of people who listen to this show. And I really do consider myself somebody who lives in the middle because I'm somebody who's always thought if you have 4 years of Democrats, you should immediately then have 4 years of Republicans. Because that's what this country is. And people who live in a country, I feel like, need to be heard. Because when you're not heard and you're pushed underground, what happens?
Yeah.
You come up fucking fighting. All right. So I have always felt, whether I agree with it or not, 50% of the country, which is what we're usually split up in, needs to be serviced. You can't just have, 16 years of Democrats, because what's going to come out is a bunch of angry fucking people. You can't have 16 years of Republicans, because what's going to come out is angry people. People need to be heard.
Yeah.
So I think, though, at the same time with the left dehumanizing, because that's what that is. When you're calling somebody Hitler, in that group Hitler, you're dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
At the same time, when all you do is refer to, I hear from people all the time, "Oh, you're one of the good ones." What does that mean?
Good Jews?
Yeah. What does
You're
that mean?
barely a Jew.
I'm half Jew. Yeah. No,
You're Jew Billy.
I gotta tell you, somebody, because I'm full Jewish, but somebody told me the other day, you don't look Jewish, and I was like, you know what? By the way, I'm not offended by that. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, you could almost be Italian. Yeah. That's great.
Way better than looking like Seinfeld. But point being, if you're on the other side and all you say is radical left and these people want to destroy our countries, it's the same thing. You're dehumanizing an entire group of people, which makes it easier to do terrible things to that group.
Yeah.
Right?
So I agree. That I think the difference, and then we'll be honest here, which is I think it's policy versus person. I live in California, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Gavin Newsom with this fucking clean needle exchange program. That just means more junkies at the park. Or he wants the girls to be able to use the boys' bathroom and the boys, as long as they identify. That's so destructive, But I don't say he's Hitler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when your policy is bad, it'd be nice if you change course on your policy, but you don't need to be killed. Your policy needs to change.
Yeah.
But if you are Hitler, then you do need to be put in the ground. And so I would argue, and it's a weird thing because the left goes, we got to tone down the rhetoric, and then they go, he's Hitler.
Yeah, that's
and it's
heavy
like
rhetoric.
you can't do that.
Yep.
You have to go, let's tone down the rhetoric. I think his policies are bad. I think tariffs are going to hurt this nation. I think what he's doing with ICE or whatever. But as soon as you start doing he's weaponized ICE, they're collecting citizens off the street and disappearing them into gulags, well, now that guy's got to go into the ground.
Yep.
And that's where we're at. Do you have that Jen Psaki clip I told you from? Because
the rhetoric in general, dude.
It's all heated.
It's so.
I see. I know. I'm pushing back because what I'm saying is I don't think the rhetoric is ever going to go away as long as our policies are that far apart.
I agree.
Okay, so you go.
I agree.
You go, I want the border shut down, locked down tight. Then you're like, I'm not going to put National Guard at the border. Okay, so we're never going to agree. And there's going to be a rhetoric. There's going to be a rhetoric. But the difference is calling somebody Hitler or calling them a dictator or whatever it is. That's who gets the sniper's bullet. The rhetoric and the disagreement and I said good day, sir, and storm out of the building and stuff, that doesn't require a bullet. Hitler requires a bullet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And if you're using logical terms, anybody in the War Department of Hitler, like any of the lieutenants or any of the folks that are behind him or trying to get him elevated, need a bullet as well. And that's the problem we're at. So here's the problem. Jen Psaki is up there talking to astronaut Kelly, and Trump releases a statement, and Trump basically says what I'm saying, which is you can't keep calling these people this and not expect attempts to be made on their life. It's not only is it logical, but if it's true, then it is a patriotic move to attempt this. I mean, Hitler. We don't look down at the guy who tried to blow up Hitler with the attaché case and Valkyrie with Tom Cruise. I mean, that guy was a hero.
Worst accent ever.
All right, but a hero
Yes.
for trying to do that because he was Hitler.
Yes.
Well, if you believe this, then it's almost a duty, is what I'm saying.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
I don't think they believe it. I think they say it and a handful of people believe it. But we'll listen to Jen Psaki here.
But he put out a 4-minute video, and I'm not going to play the video. I don't want to play the video. But there was a line at the end that I think I just wanted to raise and read. At the end of this 4-minute video, he says, "For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now." And obviously, there's a lot of rhetoric that is problematic. A lot of it is coming from one particular side and from one particular building. But what can be done? I fear when this is an escalation already in less than 24 hours of this shooting.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So she's calling it an escalation.
I have a question, though, okay?
Right. But you can, I'll just say this, like you can go low IQ Jeb Bush or sleepy Hillary Clinton. You don't need a bullet for sleepy.
Agreed.
But you need a bullet for Hitler.
I agree.
And he's saying, stop calling people Hitler. That's what's causing this. And she's going, what's with the rhetoric? Why is that rhetoric?
Let me ask you a question. And I'm curious what your honest opinion is. Why do you think the Charlie Kirk story, I mean, honestly, one of the reasons it's never going to go away is because we all watched it. And so that makes it so much more prominent in our brains. But why is the Charlie Kirk story bigger than the kids who died in the high school yesterday or the senator who died at her house in Minnesota? Like, why do you think?
Because he took on an adversarial role with the trans community and the LGBT.
I'm with you. But why is this such a point the arrow moment as opposed to somebody who came to a senator's house and killed him, or we still have kids dying multiple times in schools? So like, it's such a crazy thing to me. And by the way, nobody should die for having different opinions.
Yeah.
But the fact that kids died in a high school yesterday and that story or whenever, and that story is buried is such a crazy moment in time for me to be like, this is not even top news in our country, is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it is America.
Well, I mean, going back to, there's a kind of pragmatic side to what you're asking, which is if George Clooney dies on vacation in Mexico, it's a bigger story than Judge Reinhold dying on vacation in Mexico, just because that's who we are.
Right.
And you go, well, they're both actors. What about Judge Reinhold? It's like, well, one's more, on the tip of people's tongues. People know, like the senator and her husband and the dog or something. Like, it's horrible, but I didn't know her before the news.
South Park just lambasted him in a recent episode.
The
South Park did.
Oh, Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Cartman did a whole
There's
deal.
an element of that. And I think that's always going to be a well-known person versus 12th man on the NBA team. Sort of when Michael Jordan goes, it'll be a bigger deal than the ginger who's schooling up guys at the park. I can't even remember his name.
And the fact that we had 6 different angles of it and all that shit. And
he's a meme, like an active meme. He has been for years.
Also, I think at age 31, his potential, like a lot of people said, he would have been the president at some point. So like it is a little bit of that, if you had a time machine, would you kill Hitler kind of thing. Like if you were super hard left and you bought into Charlie Kirk being Hitlerian and evil and racist and homophobic and stuff like that, then he could be the president in 20 years or 18 years or whatever it is. Yeah. So now we're dealing with that. My thing is all the talk in the world is fine and all the disagreement in the world is fine, and all, calling a J.D. Pritzker fat or something, like, I don't like it, but it's fat. Like, I don't have to kill fat
you don't have to kill
people.
Fat guy,
right. And so I'm saying keep it all, get rid of the Hitlerian dictator part, which they won't get rid of. But if you get rid of that part, I think you'll have less assassination attempts. That's what I'm saying.
I do think you're like, it's an interesting thing I hadn't thought of, but almost if you are thinking that this dude is Hitler you're right. It almost feels patriotic to be like, well, then for the country. Like, I hadn't thought about that.
For the good of humanity.
I hadn't thought about that in the danger in calling these people dictators.
Well, and
all that
also,
stuff.
I would say this as a guy who knows people on the right and left, and I'll say this. I know who, Charlie Kirk, Dennis Prager, Tucker Carlson, sort of before he really started spinning out in the last few months. But I know, I spent time with, had conversations with, I know all these guys.
Yeah.
They're nice guys.
Yeah.
And they're smart, and they have a different opinion. But the thing that I'd realize is, like, I disagree with Anderson Cooper, and I disagree with George Clooney, and I disagree with all these people, but I don't think they're bad people. I know who they are. I don't think George Clooney's evil. George Clooney's a super nice dude. He cares a lot. I think he comes from a position that's not he's a mom who loves the kid, who says, let him eat candy for breakfast. I love him. And I'm the dad who's going, you're rotting his teeth out. Give him some fucking broccoli.
Yeah.
And you're going, he doesn't like broccoli. And I'll leave him alone. And I'm like, I don't think she doesn't love her son. I feel like she's doing something that's going the wrong direction. And the kid's getting fat. But I've never accused her of not having great love for her son. And there's millions of sort of Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel. There's many people on the left, right? Because those aren't bad people. Those are like family people, and they love their family. They love their nation and stuff like that. The right gets, and so I remember once I was, I watch football here on Sundays with with the boys years ago or something, and I just got done. Tucker Carlson came to town, and I did some stuff with him. And I said to him, what are you doing in town? I said, I'm going home Sunday morning or whatever. And I go, oh, well, I'm going to I'm doing a set at the Comedy Store Saturday night. You want to come by? And he goes, yeah, I guess. I go, well, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just at the hotel. I got nothing to do. My wife and kids no one's here. I go, well, why don't I'll pick you up. We'll go out to dinner. And then we'll go to the Comedy Store, and I'll do a set in the main room, crowded. You know, he's got baseball hat, sunglasses, Woody Allen nose attached to the glasses, scarf, collar pop. He comes trench coat, comes sliding in there, and then so the next day I went to watch football Sunday morning. And so when I walked in, people were like, hey, what's going on, man? What's been going on? I said, well, it's funny. Last night I went out with Tucker Carlson, went to the